Well, it's been a while since I've gotten up this early to start a vlog, but welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. We are taking my £100 car today on the road trip, the biggest road trip we're going to do this year, without a doubt. Obviously, lockdowns still sort of ensue. There's lots of testing around going abroad, so we're doing a staycation this year. And that staycation means we are taking the Peugeot 106 that I paid £100 for, all the way to the North Coast 500 in Scotland. Now, we live right on the south coast of the UK. So it is a hell of a drive. A round trip, we're talking 2,000 miles. All the oil and coolant is topped up, all the pumps are working. It's just had a fresh battery put in it because the battery died. And I have spent like 700-800 quid maintaining this over the last 2 years. I've owned it, almost 2 years now, which is crazy. For a £100 car, that is good going. With no major mechanical failures other than like battery replacement, brake replacement and a couple of tyres. So pretty damn good going. But anyway, 2,200-ish miles I think it will be. We're going to see Loch Ness, Glencoe, North Coast 500, the Yorkshire Dales, the Trossachs, the Cairngorms National Parks. Literally, if you want to see all of Scotland, stay tuned, because hopefully this car is actually going to take me and Charlotte around the entirety of Scotland, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. So 59 brake horsepower, a confirmed top speed of 102 miles an hour, and a boot full of luggage for 5 or 6 days to spend in Scotland. So wish us luck. Day one today, obviously, we're going all the way to Edinburgh. So that is a fair few hundred miles, like 700 miles, something stupid like that, 600 maybe. It takes about 10 hours, including like maybe 12 hours, including a stop off and a bit of lunch. So it's going to be an all-day jobby, which is why we're setting off now at 8, so we can get to a hotel at a relatively sensible time and see a little bit of Edinburgh before nightfall. Oh, and if any of you are interested in whiskey at all, we will be doing hopefully at least 2, but we'll be visiting 4 distilleries, but hopefully 2 distillery tours at Glenfarclas and Glenfiddich. That'll be on my birthday in a couple of days. Ooh. We've made it past Leeds and we're now in the Yorkshire Dales. Obviously that's a little bit deviating from the park, because that's right in the middle of the country between the 2 main roads that lead up north. But we were on the military road in the Yorkshire Dales, and the reason for this is one of the nicest roads in the UK is meant to be Buttertubs Pass. I've never been there before, obviously, because it's the furthest north I've ever been. But the car has been faultless. So far we've been getting around 50 miles per gallon, travelling between 60 and 70 miles an hour the vast majority of the way. Hit about an hour's worth of traffic out of the 5-hour journey so far, but I'm not tired at all, I'm not flagging. The car's been absolutely relentlessly reliable. I think a bit of alliteration there for it, and it's just been driving fine, so I'm not fatigued at all. And on these big open roads, it's genuinely a great fun car to drive. Like, I'm having the time of my life driving down these roads, and literally the distance you can view over, a little bit damp, but the weather's been kind overall. But the amount of scenery you've got around here in the Yorkshire Dales is stunning. But hopefully, Buttertubs Pass is going to be the pinnacle of the Yorkshire Dales. And once we've driven through that, we are going to continue our way on up to Edinburgh. So we're just past the halfway mark now. Not tired at all, to be honest. I genuinely think I could drive this car for like 16 hours a day and wouldn't be that tired. So this is the Buttertub Pass we're just going up now. Honestly, the views are spectacular. I literally just saw this recommended as a road to do in the YouTube video, and it is insane. God, my legs are knackered, the Peugeot's knackered, the clutch made a nice funny noise as we tried to reverse to park it, but we've made it to Edinburgh, and yeah, I cannot believe it. What's funny? What's funny?
You said it really weirdly.
Edinburgh. Right, we've made it, and the Peugeot's now just done over 78,000 miles, and we reckon we could have just about done it on a tank maybe, but we filled up a little bit on the entrance to Edinburgh just in case, and we'll refill the tank.
Expensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, $1.50 a litre. Gee, in America that would be like 5 times what they pay in most places over there. So, but yeah, so we've actually got it for about 50 quid in petrol. Not bad going, and I've done all the driving, so I'm pretty proud of that.
I did offer.
She'd offer a lot, but I kind of wanted the challenge. Anyway, here anyway, and tomorrow we'll be off to Inverness. But obviously tonight We need to unpack, unwind at the hotel, go out and get a meal, and of course a few alcoholic beverages to unwind and sleep well tonight for a much smaller yet equally exciting adventure tomorrow through the Cairngorms National Park and up to Aberdeen, where we're staying one more night before we do a few whiskey distillery tours and then head into Inverness for the North Coast 500 in a couple of days time. But yeah, we'll show the hotel when we get there. But goddamn, was that one hell of a long drive from Portsmouth basically last night all the way to here. Whew. All checked in, not sure about the big Scottish dude in a kilt above the bed, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. Well, it is the next morning. We are well rested after a night out on the town with a few whiskies, and one thing I love about this place is how many whiskies they have available. I tried 3 new ones last night. Downwinnie 15. What else did I have? Downwinnie 15. I had the Bruick Lardy Classic Lardy, which is an Islay whiskey that's unpeated, so not smoky. And one other one. What was the other one I tried? Oh, the standard Downmore 12. So that's like their standard age statement one. Really nice as well. It's like sherry cask, that one. Really nice. Anyway, what I love is here there's literally like a menu full of whiskies and then only like 5 gins, and that's the opposite when we're in England. So Shara always gets her choice of gin because there's so many options, but I always have to stick with like, what do you want, Jameson's or a Jack? And I'm like, oh god. But luckily here is how it should be, and there's more whiskies than gins. The Cairngorms National Park, driving down the A9. Average speed check, unfortunately, but it is a glorious road. It's just like in the middle of all these massive, where it's a little ravine with forests all around with huge trees in it. We're about to go over a bridge, so you picked a really good time to start filming, so you get a shot that way. We'll see where the river we're going over, which I don't think this is the Spey. It's out the Spey, but it might be. So Charlotte has now taken the wheel in the Cairngorms. I'm trying to teach her to rev match as sympathetically as possible because the clutch is a little bit wet, it's biting incredibly high, and she's absolutely beating the crap out of the clutch.
I'm trying my best.
But she's trying her best.
It's different to my car. My car's so different.
Yeah, so in the Polo, even though it's still a 5-speed manual like this, it's a 2015 diesel and the gears are incredibly long. And it's got a very forgiving clutch as well, so you don't have to. You don't really have to rev match it too much. You just have to drive it. And literally, if you miss, you go from like 4th to 3rd instead of 4th to 5th back. The clutch is so forgiving in it. It basically rev matches for you. Where with this car, you really have to be mindful of what way your needle's going on the tachometer as you bring the clutch up, so that you rev match as optimally as possible and put as little stress on it as possible, else it doesn't bounce. Brakes are firm, aren't they?
Yeah, like, it feels really firm.
They're quite progressive.
It's quite fun riding driver.
It's a genuinely nice car to drive as well. Like, you wouldn't think it. I mean, the gearbox is horrible,
So
but
I'm struggling at the moment. I wouldn't say it's the nicest.
in terms of how you said it handles well, though, it's got very good weight.
I feel like it's going to roll over.
No, it's got very good weight distribution, low centre of gravity, and it is great for roads like this if you've gotten used to the gearbox and everything.
So I let Ed take back over because he's definitely better at driving than me.
Yeah, she tried to go up a 20% gradient in 3rd gear while slowing down. I was like, no, you need to downshift. You used to get off the brakes, get off the throttle. But it's okay, the clutch is still in one piece at the moment. And we're still going through the Cairngorms, so fingers crossed. With my expert precision driving, we'll be there in no time.
It's still feels like we've been driving for hours.
We've just arrived at the Village Hotel in Aberdeen. Of course, we went across the entire Cairngorms. That was awesome, and the Peugeot is still absolutely relentless with its reliability. More alliteration for you. Remember there was some more earlier in the vlog. Anyway, we didn't actually think we'd make it this far, so we only booked 3 nights initially, just in case we didn't pay for loads of hotels and the Peugeot die. But we're now pretty confident that we're guaranteed for tomorrow night. So the next night is we're going to go to Scary, which is just on the sort of second half of the North Coast 500 if you started at Inverness. So we're going to a lodge.
Inverness next.
Inverness
and then
next.
We're going to Scary.
And then Scary. So Scary is going to be the Scary Lodge B&B. Looks fine. It was a last minute thing. We were going to
Yeah, it looks really quaint.
Looks great. Looks absolutely great.
No breakfast though.
No breakfast, unfortunately.
No food, no dinner.
But 95 for a night stay. Pretty reasonable, assuming they've got parking and everything. So hopefully that'll be all good. And that'll be at the end half of the North Coast 500 before we head back into Inverness and then down to Loch Ness for the last night in Glasgow somewhere probably. But yeah, so we've actually started booking the last 2 nights now because we weren't sure we were going to get this far. But
we're like, maybe we shouldn't spend money here.
yeah, but now we're in Aberdeen, it's all gotten a bit real, so we've actually had to book the next couple of nights. But anyway, yeah, Village Hotel room looks nice. The bed seems pretty comfy. We only had a quick lie on it. Haven't fully tested it out yet, have we, Sean? Which looks embarrassed. We've got like a nice clock on the wall there, and luckily no Scottish guy. We've just got some weird pillars with a lion on instead. We've got a lion instead, slightly less on. But the bathroom in here is absolutely. Look at this. Honestly, I cannot get over how nice the bathroom is. Like, it's really nice finish and everything. And
you like the stripes in the bedroom?
no, the bedroom stripes are a bit weird, but the bathroom, the finish and everything is gorgeous. But yeah, the stripy carpet, bit questionable, bit 70s. But oh well, we're off for dinner now anyway. Let's get some aqua vitae in us, eh? Whiskey, water of life.
Food, not whiskey.
We're now going to Inverness via Glenfarclas and Glenfiddich distilleries, and basically back.
Looks good.
I know, it's great. Basically back the way we already came, but we're not going to invite the Cairngorms today because obviously yesterday we did the whole Cairngorms National Park, so we're not doing that today. We're just going north of the Cairngorms through Speyside. But yeah, let's see if the Peugeot starts today. Woo!
So we've just arrived at Glenfarclas. It's Ed's birthday today, so happy birthday, Ed.
25. Now I'm old officially. It's crazy. So that's all the storage warehouses down there. So I've got a bottle of Glenfarclas 25-year-old for my 25th birthday for myself, and
For myself.
well, I'm still not going to share it. But it's crazy that like literally that bottle of whiskey I've got sat in those warehouses 25 years waiting for me to drink it. It's probably distilled in like the early to mid 90s. Well, obviously was. It's just absolutely mental. Cars, buses and caravans. We're a car. Let's see where we go. Do you like the copper pot still in the middle of that's quite a cool little touch, isn't it? One of their old stills.
Yeah, so this tour is really cool because it's free of charge.
And you get free whiskey.
So you get
For
a free
showing up.
tour and free whiskey. What more can you ask? We're going to try and go to some other ones today as well, aren't we?
Visitor centre. Visitors car park. Vehicles and contents left at owner's risk. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of thieves out here in the middle
That's
of
a bit of a
nowhere.
weird, it looks like Japanese.
That's what the tops of all the distilleries are. So we've just done the Glenfarclas tour. It was fantastic. Can't believe they do all that for free. I'd be quite happy to pay for that experience, wouldn't you? Really?
The girl who did our tour as well was so nice.
Yeah. Whoever.
And she was so
do you remember her
informative.
name?
I think it's like Helen or something.
I can't remember. Anyway, she was a young woman that did the tour. Fantastic. And me and Shah shared the whiskey at the end, so that obviously because we're driving still today. We bought a bottle of.
Most of it.
Yeah, you drank most of it because I kind of wanted
to drink it.
I had a little taste of both of them. Weirdly, I quite like the 10 because it's more friendly. I'm not a huge fan of overly sherried whiskies, and of course Glenfarclas is
We just bought
mostly
a bottle of the 15,
aged
though.
in. Yeah, but the 15's how the founder wanted it to be drank, and I'm all about the history behind it, because I'm a bit of a weirdo.
We also got some lovely fudge.
The fudge is amazing. Get the fudge, 100% worth it. And I've also got a little Glenfarclas glass to go with our other million whiskey glasses we now have at home. But
yeah, when we buy a house, we're going to get like a little cabinet to put all our glasses.
We're never going to buy a house because we spend too much money on whiskey, but you know.
You spent too much money on whiskey.
Anyway, yeah, so it was a really good tour, absolutely fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. Can't believe they do it for free. Seriously, hit up Glenfarclas if you're in Scotland at all. It's worth the trip. Middle of nowhere, beautiful area, and nice drive to get here as well. So yeah, definitely check out Glenfarclas. But now we're off to Glenfiddich via the cooperage of Speyside, and
the co-op for a sandwich.
And the co-op for a sandwich for sure. So after Charlotte's practice yesterday driving the Peugeot, we entrusted her today to do the rest of the journey to Inverness. So honestly, Glenfiddich was such a good tour. I was expecting it to be sort of like a big conglomerate and just be like, oh, we sell the most whiskey, blah blah. But our tour guide Brian, shout out to Brian, he was absolutely fantastic. Apparently he'd only been working the job for 15 weeks, but he was like so enthusiastic about whiskey, and it was like clear that he wasn't just there because it was a job, he was there because he loved whiskey, and I really appreciated that.
We'll have to give him a good review.
Yeah, we're going to give him a good review because he was an absolutely fantastic tour guide. Was really helpful, really informative, and just an all-round great guy. And it was super interesting seeing things like the actual loss of angel share over different age ranges, nosing different whiskies that were, some of them were 47 years old on a £20 tour. I find that insane. And we even got to try the Glenfiddich Grand Cru, which is a cuvee wine cask finish, and that's a 23-year-old whiskey, and you get to try that on a £20 tour. I find that absolutely insane. I definitely think they're only just about covering their costs with that £20 bill there at the beginning.
They're also generous, aren't they, with everything? Like even the other one we did, they were so generous.
Yeah, there's honestly, I think the fact that all of the distilleries seem to be, if you've made the effort to get to Speyside, or probably made the effort to get to any distillery, I imagine, they're appreciative of your custom, and they're just so welcoming and so friendly. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't have asked for a better birthday, really. It's been great. But Brian specifically, yeah, literally, Brian specifically was absolutely fantastic and showed me some whiskies I never thought I'd try. We're not for a few months anyway until I had a few more pay packets, that's for sure, but he was really helpful, really informative, and it was absolutely great.
His whiskey collection was really impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had like 250 unopened bottles of really rare stuff and like another 200 odd opened, so he was clearly a real whiskey aficionado. And yeah, it was just absolutely insane. The tour, well worth doing. Honestly, to be honest, if you're in the UK, just drop whatever you're doing and drive to Speyside and do the Glenfiddich tour and ask for Brian. That's my advice right there. Well, Charlotte has successfully got us to the hotel without completely burning the clutch out, although that's...
Burn the clutch, I was really good.
She was pretty good, to be fair. So yeah, we're at the hotel.
Thank you, wasn't I?
Yeah, it's a really nice 4-star called, what was it, the Kingsmill Resort and Spa. It's got fudge in the room that's whiskey flavoured, so we've got 2 lots of whiskey flavoured fudge now. All good. And yeah, the room is just really nice. And yeah, it's really nice. Bathroom's good. Again, another really pleasant hotel. Probably my favourite of the 3 so far, actually, which is suitable, so it's my birthday. And we're going to just have a meal here tonight. Quite expensive, but hopefully it'll be good food. So I'm going to go steak and creme brulee. I need to check there's a dress code because I don't actually have a shirt with me. So while the Peugeot has now done in excess of 1,000 miles, we still need to check all the fluids and everything and make sure it's all okay. So now it's cooled off after resting at the hotel for a bit. Going to check the coolant and the engine oil just to make sure that we've got enough fluid and we're not burning stuff while we're moving, and check that it's okay to continue with the North Coast 500 tomorrow. So, pop in the hood, we're going to have a look and see what it looks like under the hood. Good news is, engine is still there, so let's have a look and see how much oil we have. Now of course you can actually wipe this off on a cloth, but to be honest, as long as I can see that the end of this is damp, which it is, I know we've got enough oil. Probably doesn't even need an oil top off yet. And then coolant is probably a bit hot still for coolant. Actually no, it's cooled off quite nicely. Just go check the coolant levels here. In there, yeah, we are still damp on the coolant at the top there of the reservoir, so it's still leaking out. So we have got the reservoir nice and full, so we're all good fluid wise, don't need to do anything else. Looks like the car is in tip-top shape to continue with the North Coast 500 tomorrow. Well, we're now on day 4, so we're going from Inverness all the way to John O'Groats around the North Coast 500, and tonight we're staying in Scowrie. On the way there, we're going to probably visit Glenmorangie and Old Pulteney distilleries up the A9. So that's at Tain and at Port of Wick, but basically we're going to the top of the UK today, so let's get rolling. Right, we've driven to Cadboll, which is actually an estate owned by Glenmorangie, and there's a stone here called the Hilton Stone or something, and basically you can find it, there's a little bit you can park at just on the road, and this was originally, it looks what? Oh, there's more engravings on it. Oh yeah. So it's very pretty stone. Anyway, it was erected in 800 AD, so like 1200 years ago. Obviously since then it's been destroyed a couple of times and fallen over. All the information about it's at the entrance, and it's been rebuilt by artists to depict all of the original sort of inscriptions and runes that were on it like 1200 years ago. So quite cool indeed. And also the reason we came here really on the way to Glenmorangie is because this rune is what inspired their bottling to have the sort of logo they've got with the Celtic rune on it. So this rune is the reason that Glenmorangie's sort of logo, and that is why it is. So pretty significant. So unfortunately at the moment the Glenmorangie tours aren't going on because of COVID. They are still doing the tastings, but it was still cool to see the distillery. And I got my mum a little gift at the gift shop of a tasting glass. So yeah, still a cool place to visit, but it's a shame that they're not doing the distillery tours at the moment. The DSLR is out of memory and I cannot be bothered to switch the memory cards over, but proof that the Peugeot is here. We've made it in the £100 car to John O'Groats with nary an issue, absolutely no problems whatsoever. And we are here at the car park at John O'Groats, which is absolutely mental. So let's go and get a picture by the sign. So we are at the top of the roads in the UK. We cannot go any further north. This is it. This is the end of the road. So one of the final points we've stopped at on the North Coast 500 is actually the Dunnet Head Lighthouse. So this is technically more north than John O'Groats, contrary to popular belief. We actually had to get up a load of peat bogs to get up here. Single track road was really, really hard to get up, to be honest. A lot of passing points you had to stop at. Would be much easier on a bike, but unfortunately I don't think I'm quite brave enough to try and ride my 125 1100 miles quite yet. So the Peugeot though has been absolutely relentless and made it all the way here, and we are at the northernmost point in Scotland and therefore the United Kingdom, bar the islands of the Orkney Islands and Shetland Islands. So here we are. We cannot get any further north than this. So guys, we're still on the North Coast 500 at the moment. She's still going strong, and look at that view. We had to stop. We're coming over the rolling hill there. We're on our way to Durness at the moment before heading down to Scary this evening. But I cannot express how good the views here. Every corner you turn around is another breathtaking view. So if you can afford a few £100 in petrol, buy yourself a £100 car and do the North Coast 500. That's totally a recommendation from me. You cannot hold me accountable if you don't make it though. If you do manage to make it all the way to the north bits where the beaches are at, there are some lovely sandy beaches, but I'm currently wearing a snowflake blanket.
Christmas blanket.
Because I'm only wearing a very thin t-shirt. Didn't bring a coat obviously because I'm fat and thought we're alright. It's only the islands, but it's pretty cold. But look at that.
Look at that. Oh mate, that's some beach there, isn't it, mate? Yep.
Continuing on the route to Scary, you still cannot believe the scale of how big everything is up here. Like, those rocks in a picture just look quite close, but honestly, that little line you might be able to see down there is like a big main road, and these rocks here, all sort of out that way, the mist just sort of like highlights them and highlights all the sort of shapes on them in person, and that you can see how far away they are. Some of those rocks are probably like 100 feet tall. You wouldn't believe the sheer scale of that sort of view out there. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and absolutely freezing. Tonight we're staying in Scary, as I said, and it's a place called the Lodge at Scary, or Scary Lodge Airbnb. Yeah, Scary Lodge B&B. So it's bed and breakfast, not on Airbnb or any websites. It has got a website, but it's yeah. So this is the house, and actually the owners of the lodge live in there. They've got a few rooms that they rent out, and a little coach house on the side. Now
a little dog.
And a little dog that's very cute. But the coach house on the side is where we're at. It's got two single beds, a toilet, and it's nice and secluded and sort of separate from the rest of the house, which I quite like. It's probably the one I would have gone for anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a bathroom and everything.
Yeah, it's got a bathroom and two beds, TV, air circulator, one more because you want, and tea and coffee and amenities included, and it was like less than 100. I think it was £95 or £100 for the night. Parking, and most importantly, and what I'm about to show you is that the driveway is quite steep, and the driveway is quite steep, but the location. We're literally in between two locks here, which is just ridiculous. So lock number one at the end of the driveway, and then you won't be able to see it, but basically just behind that rock there is lock number two. So yeah, we're literally in such a prime position. It's just absolutely glorious. So it's the next day. We've started making our journey back down southwards. We are now at Loch Ness. It's right over there. Probably can't really see it through the fence, but we have actually gone all the way down to Loch Ness. Anyway, trust me in saying that's Loch Ness over there. So yeah, we're continuing down Loch Ness through the Glencoe Pass into the Trossachs area of natural beauty, and then finally we're staying just east of Glasgow tonight in Hamilton. And Charlotte bought a Nessie.
Because it's so cute, and it's going to go on the bed and the flat.
No, I said you've got to keep it in the car. If I see him in the flat, I'm going to kick him out.
You're not, because he's too cute. You won't be able to.
So we didn't do much filming yesterday because the camera was nearly dead. It's charged up again, and we are in Hamilton, just southeast of Glasgow. We're stopping off at Liverpool for lunch and then to see her brother, and then we're heading home. So we've got about 6.5, 7 hours of driving today, assuming traffic doesn't build up, which it will, and one lunch stop and fuel stop. But hopefully we can do it one more fuel stop and we'll be home.
Woo!
Well, we stopped in Liverpool to see Char's brother and had lunch, which was great. And the little relentless 106 is still chugging along, seems unwaveringly than I am, to be honest. We have just passed Gloucester, big shout out to Lichfield where I get my GTR looked at. So we're sort of heading towards home turf now, and we're about an hour and a half from home, 90 miles to go, 92 to be specific, and we've got just over half a tank, so that tank we filled up at just south of wherever it was, Glasgow, has lasted us the whole way home with that little top up of the 5 litre tank we had in the boot. Or SVR, very nice. No, that little 5 litre tank literally gave us like a dram more fuel, wasn't a big deal at all. But we are heading home, and hopefully an hour and a half, the Peugeot will have done a 2,000-mile road trip, done John O'Groats, aka the end of the road, the most northern point in the UK, done it head, as well as the North Coast 500, and virtually every big city in Scotland, bar the islands and Skye. So that's pretty damn impressive if you ask me.